Lissette Santiago, thank you so much. You're with the Coachella Valley Unified School District as spokeswoman. We appreciate you taking time to talk. A lot of parents concerned about their students' safety. I mean, some bad things happened at school campuses nationwide. Right as school was letting out this past spring, so a lot security on a lot of people's minds. I know that you and the school district here said that security patrols had been stepped up the following weeks there at the end of the school year. Will those increased security patrols continue into the new year, or what type of security steps are being taken?
So we're so thankful with our law enforcement partners. They've always been very supportive of our school sites and making sure that safety and security is paramount in our communities. And because of the situation in Uvalde, they've been able to patrol all of our school sites almost every day. And whenever there's extra patrol officers or there's a situation that we need them, they come to our assistance. So we're so grateful that they're so close to us. The thermal station is about 100-200 feet away from our district campus and also from some of our school sites. So they're very near to our community, and they've always been able to help us whenever we've needed them.
A quick response as requested, but not on a continuous basis, but as requested by the school district.
So yes, definitely as requested, but even before the Uvalde, they've always been able to patrol our campuses. Whether or not there's a violent incident in our campuses, they've been able to patrol. They're not there full time, but they're always patrolling our sites just as a preventative measure. Okay.
The district recently hosted, you call it ALICE, it's Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, Evacuate training here at Palmview Elementary School. A number of assistant superintendents, teachers as well were involved in this. What did that training entail? How might it translate to a safer campus?
So the first time we held our ALICE training was back in 2018, but because of the pandemic, we had to delay hosting additional trainings. But ALICE basically helps anyone in a situation of a violent incident to be ready, whether it's be ready to lock down, barricade, or counter. And by counter, we mean that many of the times, the reasons why active shooters are able to take more lives is because everyone is in lockdown position and no one's able to counteract the threat. So thankfully through the ALICE training, they gave us tools and resources to be able to counteract a threat if the student or if the staff member chooses to. Many of the times, there's different situations going on with an active shooter event, but if the student, the classroom, or the staff member chooses to counteract, we were provided training as how to be able to safely protect ourselves and everyone in the classroom.
And we don't go into that because you don't want to give away trade secrets. But they've been given some additional training to help them improve their odds and the safety of their students.
Yes, so all of the information that was and the training provided to us is research-based. So we were able to find out that, for example, in the situation of Columbine and all the other school shootings, the active shooters were able to take more lives when the majority of the students were on lockdown. So ever since then, law enforcement officials and other experts have decided that a counter strategy is better. And counter, it doesn't mean that you have to physically attack the violent shooter. You could use different resources within your classroom or within a school setting, or sometimes even outside of a school setting to protect yourself and others.
There were walkthroughs at every school with CVUSD safety consultants to ensure the safety of the students, staff, and the community. You cited a new fence that's under construction out at Peter Pendleton Elementary in Coachella. What were those walkthroughs looking for, and did they find a lot of issues, or did it just create an opportunity to kind of make sure that everything was locked down, not locked down, but secure?
So our Director of Risk and Assessment was able to host these walkthroughs with our safety consultants. And what they realized is that we needed additional fencing at Peter Pendleton Elementary School. In addition, that's when we realized we needed additional safety and security measures, and that's why we have our new control access system and also some other different layers of security to make sure that all of our school sites are safe. We had some of these measures at some of the school sites, but not all. So definitely this walkthrough with our consultants helped us to realize that we needed more measures to keep our students and our staff safe.
The district implemented the new Raptor system. That's been used by the other school districts as well. What difference will that make? How will that improve safety on campus?
So with the Raptor system, that's the second layer of security. The first layer would be the control access system, but the second layer of security would be the Raptor system. So when a visitor enters any of our campuses, they're screened through the national database of registered sex offenders. So we're able to know if a contractor, a visitor, or anyone visiting our campus is on that list. And then at that point, we would know what steps to take. We wouldn't keep any of that personal information that comes from their ID system, but we do want to make sure that we know who's on campus. And we, at the end of the day, we want to protect our students and our staff.
Earlier this year, so it was in the school year, this past school year that ended up, that it was implemented. Any noticeable, like have there been any notable incidents that you're like, oh, that was caught by the Raptor system?
Not yet, but fortunately now that we have the system, we hope that if anything, any such case does come up, we hope that we're able to stop it at the front office without letting those visitors come in. If we have a visitor that wants to drop off paperwork or drop off anything to the front office, they could do that. They don't have to be screened through the Raptor system, but if they have to go on campus and if they have to see any of our students, then at that point we do have to screen all of our visitors, volunteers, even parents coming to their student school site. We will be screening everyone.
They all get screened by the Raptor system.
Yes.
It's kind of like a barrier without there being a real barrier, but it's a barrier of knowledge. It lets you know
yes,
what this person may or may not have in their history.
Correct. And at the end, we do service students, so we want to keep them safe from any sexual predators.
Yeah. The district partnered with Terra Firma Enterprises, several meetings with key stakeholders that took place. You say it's in the last phase of this plan. How is that going to, that partnership, improving security as well on campuses?
Let me think about that.
I
recall
that was the district-wide emergency operations plan.
Okay, yes. I remember that one.
So it's emergency operations
planning. The first phase is the visitor management system for all sites. And then the second phase would be the emergency management system. So our partnership with Terra Firma has been great. We've been able to implement a new emergency operation system. So for example, and we're also finalizing our emergency operation plan, and we hope to release it sometime in August after board approval. And basically, that touches everything about a violent a violent incident, anything related to a natural disaster. Sometimes when something happens, for example here, if an earthquake were to happen, then families would know what steps to take to relocate with their students. Sometimes it's impossible for us to call everyone immediately, but if they know what our emergency plan is, then they would know where to go. We also have a new radio system where we have direct access to first responders, law enforcement. In the case of a natural disaster, we use that radio that's at the superintendent's office, and we communicate directly. In case there's outage with the power lines or the phone lines, that doesn't stop us from communicating with first responders or law enforcement. So we're so grateful to have that, and especially to have it at the district office. And then we plan to have additional radios at the school sites as well.
Okay, yeah, that I know in many incidents around the country where they say that breakdown in radio communications is a big deal. So to have a direct radio link to local police, I would think would be very valuable.
Yes.
And that's how long has that been in place?
About a month or so.
So it's brand new.
It's very new. It's a brand new system. And we hope that this will help us deter a lot of incidents that may happen in the future, with whether it's a natural disaster or a violent critical incident. We just hope that this will allow us to communicate better with our families and also with law enforcement and first responders.
Okay. And then finally, and this is more of a comparison, I know that the other two school districts both have the armed resource officers on campus. Desert Sands has them. Palm Springs Unified has them. The district here has chosen not to have them. Is there a benefit to having armed resource officers, police officers on campus all the time?
So there's always a benefit for having officers on campus, but there's always also a benefit for not having them. If you remember the situation at Uvalde, they had a school resource officer, and nonetheless, they still went through that tragedy. So it just depends what layers of security each district has. For example, here at CVUSD, I think at this point we have enough layers of security that we could forego having a school resource officer, but if in the future we ever need them, we will definitely talk with the board and talk with our community to see what is the best step for us to have those resource officers on campus. But at this time, we feel that all of our security measures are in place, and we're constantly analyzing them to make sure that they're appropriate for our students and our staff.
Okay. Anything that you want to add or say that you were hoping people would know? Because people can go online, they're going to see some of this, and some of it will be on TV, some of it will be online. Anything that you want people to know? So
in addition to us having all these safety and security measures, we've also implemented a lot of social emotional learning and wellness to help our students on campus and also help their families and our staff. For example, this year we will have a wellness center at each of our middle school and high schools. We will have a wellness teacher in addition to a mentor when appropriate. So we feel that all of these measures are helping our students and our staff be well emotionally and hopefully deter any of these incidents that have happened in other districts. In addition to that, we also constantly train our families and our parents in social emotional learning so they know what's expected at the school sites, but also what they could implement at home so they could continue with the process of social emotional learning. And this year we have about 2 school counselors at each of the school sites. So not only do students receive school counseling, but social emotional counseling, but also their immediate family members. And all of this is for free. So we hope that all of these measures, the ones that we have at the school sites and at the district level, but also the ones that we send home with our students, that all of this is helping us to have a safe and secure environment for our students.
Will this be some of that? I know there was like $1.5 million that in the LCAP presentation to the board that was going to be spent on mental health services in the coming school year. Are these programs that are funded by that?
Yes, some of these programs are funded by LCAP, and then some of them are funded by ESSER, but this is something that we were able to build, contacting the community, some stakeholder groups, and we were able to build these wellness centers for our students.
Kind of an acknowledgement, I know by other school districts saying the same thing, that the pandemic has taken a toll on the mental, emotional health of students and families. Is that kind of what this is ideally trying to address as well?
Yeah, so we've been doing social emotional work for a long time, for about 5 years, but definitely the pandemic accelerated the need for social emotional wellness at the school sites, and for us to increase and improve our systems and our methods to offer that to our students.
Okay. Anything else that you wanted to say?
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, Lissette, thanks so much.
Yes.
Lissette Santiago with the Coachella Valley Unified School District. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.